Nicole Malliotakis of New York sits on the House Foreign Relations Committee. Congresswoman, thank you very much for joining us. What do you make of what has been transpiring today, and now this deadline that the Taliban has set, the August 31st deadline? You got to be done by then. You got to be done. What do you think?
Well, first I'll say that just a couple of hours ago, the numbers that they released out of 37,000 individuals that the United States have evacuated, we only are seeing that 10%, less than 10% actually, are American citizens. And so the very first question I have for the State Department and the Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs tomorrow at the Foreign Affairs Committee meeting will be, what are we doing to identify where the Americans are, and when will the administration allow the military to go out and save those individuals and safely transport them to the airport, as we're seeing countries like France and Great Britain do?
So with that threat of the Taliban, do you take them at their word, or do you think they're saber rattling here? They argue this is a date and a time that the administration has agreed to. Now that we were caught off guard dealing with the tumult, it can't be changed.
Look, what they're sensing is a very weak administration. President Biden has just shown weakness throughout this entire ordeal. They went in this without having a strategy, without having a plan, and everyone around the world sees it. Even our allies have been condemning him and the lack of action and appropriate response that they've taken to ensure that we evacuate individuals. So I think the president needs to be very strong here and needs to make clear to the Taliban that we will be here until we get every American citizen out, period. And he cannot allow these individuals to be running the show there. He needs to make it clear that we are going to get every American and leave none behind. And that is exactly what we're going to be pressing them to do. And again, less than 10% right now of those being evacuated by the United States of America are U.S. citizens. So there are a lot of questions here as to how they're going to go forward and make sure that they get these Americans safely to the airport so they can evacuate and be repatriated.
Now, obviously you don't take the Taliban at their word, and you have very good reason to. You've said in the past that this administration has made a mistake doing that. Do you look back that maybe negotiating with the Taliban, as the prior administration did in a pursuit to get us out of there by May, was a mistake? Those pictures with Secretary of State Pompeo, with Taliban leaders, in retrospect, it was a mistake.
Well, I think the previous administration was a lot stronger and had a lot more leverage. In this case, they're sensing weakness, and that is really what the problem is. It's the weakness as well as the lack of plan that they went into this. To not take out our American citizens first, to not make sure that you fortify the special immigrant visa process first, going in there and just withdrawing. Do you think that the former administration would have done that, or that this all cascaded so quickly that no matter who was president, same thing would happen? Well, based on what you're hearing from the previous administration officials, they had that plan in place to take the American citizens out. They wouldn't have closed the airbase, and they would have made sure that our equipment was removed. I mean, the fact that they just left the equipment there,
open, and that you'd have more airports. You'd have at least one other airport by which to exit the country.
Exactly, and take out citizens first before withdrawing the remaining troops. The fact that we have more troops there today than when we did when President Biden announced a withdrawal, more than double the number of troops, that is shows you what a failure this has been.
Well, now we do, because of the increased personnel to bring in to get our people out, but we technically would have had fewer under the prior administration. But we can go back and forth this. I'm just wondering how you think it ends up.
Yeah. Well, I think, look, from here on, the only thing we can do is mitigate the damage. We need to make sure that we let the special forces go out to get American citizens. Certainly in my office, we've been taking calls from individuals. We were able to successfully get a family evacuated, a mother with 3 small children from Brooklyn, New York. And other members of Congress and senators are doing the same to feed this information to the State Department to help evacuate everyone. I think that's the priority right now for all of Congress. And then we can ask questions about where did this failure happen and at what level. But certainly the president did not listen to the intelligence, and he did this without a plan, and that is why we're in the situation we're in at this moment.
Congresswoman, thank you very, very much. We're monitoring that, as well as the major commercial U.S. airlines like Southwest, United, and Delta that are helping get people